Hi Saggies, happy equinox new year. So we're going to have a look at your astrology for Sag and also do a couple of tarot readings to look at the energies for the year ahead. So this is going to cover April till April 2026 to April 2027. So Saggy, so don't forget you can be Saggy Sun, Ascendant or Moon for this to be relevant. And also, if you would like to get a reading with me, just have a look on my YouTube page. You'll see my email and you can contact me that way. My readings are $100 New Zealand for an hour. So, Saggy. So here we have the equinox chart, and I'm going to just read out what you have in the placements. So for the third sector, you have Pluto sitting there. The third sector relates to can relate to friendships from early childhood, can relate to siblings, also relates to your communication. Pluto sitting there, it could be a bit of a struggle for Saggy to really be able to communicate clearly during that time. Otherwise it can feel like the energy is just too hard to actually be able to express your true self. Now, this has been sitting there for a while, so it's only going to be activated when we've got transits going over this Pluto. So, at the moment it's probably fine, but throughout the year, there will be times when you just feel like you're needing your own space, or where you may feel you have certain struggles within family circumstances. In the fourth sector, you have the Mercury conjunct Node and Mars sitting there as well. Now that's all sitting in Pisces. The fourth sector is all about your security in the sense of your home, your safe place, and what you're wanting to create for yourself and for your family. With Mercury Node there, this could be a great time to be talking or discussing about property or home investment, or could also be a time to just be, making your home a meeting place or a workplace, a place where you can actually, converse with those that you're like-minded with. Mars is also in that fourth sector, so you could feel quite energized to do some work on the property, or to be, creating new situations around property, new ideas, expanding developments, all around, your sense of property, your sense of what you're wanting for your future, for the bigger picture. We have the Sun and the Neptune-Saturn conjunction is sitting in your fifth sector with also Moon and Venus. So the Sun here is a really good creative place to be, but with Neptune conjuncting the Sun, which is when the two planets are next to each other, as you can see here, Sun, Neptune and Saturn, you may feel more spiritually inclined in a creative way, or you may feel uncertain about certain creative projects or uncertain about creative ideas. Great time to be, for enjoyment, getting near the water, getting near the sea would be really beneficial. If there's any sort of issues going on with family, more so children, with Saturn Neptune, it could be financial, or it could even be health issues, but these things will just can actually miraculously disappear as quick as they appear with Saturn Neptune. Moon Venus is also in your fifth, and again that is a really good time to be around family circumstances, sharing with your children. It's a procreative time if you're looking at having children or expanding on the family. It's also a good time for creative business ideas, but more in that creative sense, more to do with your own input and your own personal expression. In your place of work, you have Uranus, which means that your work could be spasmodic, is that a word? Be unsettled. Could be, sometimes it's full on, sometimes it's really quiet, sometimes you have lots of work. If you're a contractor, it could mean that you don't know where your next job's coming from. But with Uranus here, it's like you always get looked after. It's like things always come in at the last minute. So this is sort of meaning that Sagittarius isn't great with routine anyway. This is the sixth sector, is your place of routine. It's your place of daily, what you do on a daily basis. And with Uranus there, it's like you're wanting to make each day different, or you're, really wanting to break routines. But like I said, Sag doesn't really go with routine anyway, unless you've got quite a bit of Capricorn going on. You have Jupiter in the 8th sector, so this can be really fortunate with any situations where other people are looking after circumstances for you, especially money, trusts, banks. So if you're wanting to expand, borrow, anything, this would be a great time, or even just to address certain assets could be related to, involving others. This could be a time to address it and make the changes you're wanting, but this is a good time for investments for you with Jupiter sitting in that position. And lastly, you have the South Node sitting in the 10th sector. So 10th sector is sort of what you're wanting to go towards, and it's like sometimes we've got to revisit the past to move forward, and so this is sort of relevant with this combination, because you might find that contacts or connections to do with the past, and sudden connections could be coming up to do with your security, your career, and when I say your security, your home or your career, with that Mercury node conjunction and opposition. But the South Node is more about where you've been. It's also to do with past life connections. So you might find that people coming in, that you haven't seen for a while, or you just feel a really strong connection, or you feel you've known them before. You may not have in this lifetime. They could actually be responsible for changing your career or new ideas. When I say new ideas, bringing you into something that they're doing relative to career and future direction. So let's have a look at the tarot for you. I'm going to do 2 spreads. First the Celtic Cross, and secondly the wheel, the Zodiac wheel. So let's see what the universe wants to give you an overall understanding of what's happening for this year. Right, well, that looks extremely productive, and especially, as I was saying, for money, for finances, for security, for property, and for planning around property. So these combinations are, what I sort of, see when someone's renovating or building or just doing improvements. It could be outside. And Sagittarius love to be outside, and they generally enjoy landscaping and creating, but creating with the hands and creating outdoors. Oh, this looks nice and clear and pretty easy so far. So you are going through some changes, and I think this is a really positive change, because saying that if you've been going through any doubts or insecurities, and Saggy, you wouldn't know if Saggy's going through any insecurities, because they certainly wouldn't let you know. But that doesn't mean they don't feel it, just because they seem to be extremely outgoing and sociable. We all can suffer from insecurities, but I feel like something you've been doubting about yourself is is coming to a completion. It feels like, it's like clearing any fears, and they're not like fears where we're worrying and that sort of thing. It's more like sometimes Saggy can hold themselves back because they have a fear of failure, or it can be a fear of success even. And, Sagittarius and Capricorn both fall into this category, because they both like to aspire and to aim high. And if they don't reach that goal, sometimes they don't know how they will, especially Capricorns, how they will cope with that, because they see it as a loss. Saggy take a bit more optimistic view of, well, that was a lesson learned and I'll move on. But that doesn't mean that those knocks haven't affected them, and that it hasn't affected their ability to believe in themselves. So there's a whole newfound belief in yourself here, Sagittarius, and it looks like you are sort of fated to come into new things and to make some bigger decisions for your future, especially when it comes to changing your career, changing your direction. And again, with Uranus sitting in that sector of your work, you might not be thinking about changing your career. You may be thinking you're fine where you are, or you might just be plodding along, and next minute you've got this great opportunity, and it's like it's up to you to take it. So there's news about a work change coming up for Sag quite soon, and if you take it, I feel like it's going to be extremely fulfilling and rewarding for you. And it's also going to give you the ability to be able to speak your truth, to be able to speak your mind, to be able to put your own imprint onto what you're doing. It's really important that Sagittarius is following their individuality, their personal expression, and that they're not feeling held back in any way. They like their ideas to be moved forward, or they'll just get on with their own ideas themselves. And so this is sort of saying this is where you can really utilize that, either in the workplace for someone else or working in your own thing. So really good news, especially if it's a sort of a contracting situation again. I don't know why I keep saying that. It might be, Sagittarius sort of prefer that sort of work situation where it's not all too routine. But this is going to be a lot of fun. And it really seems like it's quite a fated time for people to come into your life to sort of give you a new perspective on what you can create for the future. And I can see you making some pretty strong decisions about it. So I tend to jump to the bigger picture, but let's go backwards a little bit and see how we get there. So firstly, you've got, Saggy energy. You're going to feel a little bit like you can't move forward. So, I'm saying all these things coming in, but we still have this energy of clearing what has made us disappointed, or what has made us a bit defensive even about moving forward or about taking on new things, because that's not like a Saggy to actually feel those things. When they do go have those down moments, it can be quite hard, because they do spend a lot of the time feeling very optimistic and positive, and they just love the experience. So I'm not saying, we have a failure or success issue where we see it as one or the other. Saggy generally sees it as an experience to learn from. And sometimes they take that on board, hold it in their bodies, feel like, well, that didn't work out, so I can't try this again. But, I feel like whatever you've been carrying, you're getting the opportunity to clear in the very near future, so that you're prepared and ready when this fated opportune time comes along, which feels to me like we could be looking at about June or July. But when I do the Zodiac spread, we should get a bit more information on when that's coming in. So there's going to be agreements with others about a new direction, a new passion. It looks like, when I say agreements with others, it's like a partnership situation that you could be looking at with another person, or it could be that you're wanting to make a new change and take on a new venture. But that would mean your partner would have to be involved. Of course, it involves them. There could be a move or a change involved with that. Either way, it feels like it's very much about security for the future. Even if it was, I've got to go away for work, for a while, whether we're sitting up here or whether I'm just going away for a while, it's like this is all for the future, for good financial results that can actually mean more freedom at the end of the day. So again, repeating myself, an opportunity through another person, which is just the perfect situation. It's almost like Saggy have some things have come up in the past where for Saggy, you've got to get over yourself so that you can actually accept this, because you may have in the past gone, oh, no, I'm used to doing my own thing, or no, I would feel controlled in that situation. This is not a situation of feeling controlled. This is a situation of taking control. And I feel like whatever is being presented to you, even though there are some requirements with it, you still will have your own control in that situation. So I think the whole message with this is, like I said, these fated changes, which I think you're going to really want to step into once you release the restrictions that hold you back. You're just going to want to go. But I feel the main thing in this is about following your heart, following what makes you feel. It's like, how does it make you feel if you think about yourself in that position? That is going to be your real key, because that's what you're going to be guided by this year, is your feelings, your heart, what you really desire, and what your more emotional needs are, what your meaning, what your fulfillment would be. So believe in yourself, Saggies, because this is a very powerful time for you. And if you take the bull by the horns, you will find you'll be a lot happier, and you will reach the goal, reach the direction and the goal that you are really wanting to achieve. So let's have a look at the Zodiac. Zodiac spread. Okay, well, there's a few major arcana cards here. One, two, three, four, five. 5 out of 12 is quite a bit. 6. And they are quite, they're really good ones. They're really quite powerful ones. It's sort of not saying things aren't in your control. Sometimes the major arcanas, it's like, well, you just got to go with the flow and let the universe, bring you new things. But in this circumstance, it's more like this is your opportune time. This is your time to shine. So what you've got going on in your sort of your personal area and your environment is very much what I call the Sag card. This is the Page of Rods, and he's sort of like wants to go out on a journey, wants to experience new things. He can't quite see where he's going. His eyes are a bit covered by the hat, but he's looking out yonder, and he's like, this is an exciting time, new things, a new journey. So you're going to feel very enthused for changes and for new experiences. So, in your situation with your assets and your security, you've got the Empress, which is a very productive card. It's like if you are looking at starting a family, this would be an excellent time. If you are looking at expanding on your income, again, this would be a good time for anyone in their own business. It's a great time of productivity, but it's also a time to sort of connect in with nature, to connect in with what you enjoy. And the Empress is a very natural card. She just loves, she's very much tuned into nature and tuned into the rhythm of the elements of nature. Now you could be looking at signing documents this year, and these documents could be to do with work, career, or could be to do with property or investments. But either way, everything seems to be going in your favour for this. You may want to let go of some of your the things that hold you back, and I feel like that could be relative to that feels more like in your home circumstances. So your home circumstances are, I think you're going to be away from home a bit this year. I don't think it's a year where you're going to be, like I did feel like you'll be doing quite a bit of that fourth house of like working from home or working on the home. But it's like, I think this is a year where you're like, I've got to do what's right for me. I've got to do what I feel good doing. And if that's working from home, well then that's what it will be. But it also might be that if you're taken away from your home environment, that you haven't got time for all these plans and ideas. But that's okay, because you're putting things into motion and you will get it done when the time's right. So the first half of the year, you might find you can't get a lot done, but in the second half, you're going to find this is actually when a lot of these plans are really going to start to, you start to see the results. I feel like there's going to be some holidays here for you, Saggies, and you do like to travel generally. So, this is in your place of enjoyment and fun and that, and there's a sense of freedom. Some air travels here, but also anywhere where you're by the water, anywhere where you've got huge open spaces, this is where you feel the best. Also feel like, your favourite thing to do is to be outdoors, like I said, whether that's swimming, tramping, sports, activities. But, this is a time that you're going to really have a good year for those sort of social interactions, but also for, for travel, for holidays, and for catching up with others. So in your work sector, I see you as your own boss again. So, I'm not saying all these Saggies listening to this are their own boss, but it looks like you're going to be in a leadership role. This is what you're destined for, and this is what you're going to be working towards, if not already. So relationships, because you're going to start off this year feeling a little bit uncertain about situations, or uncertain about what the direction is, or where you're going to be working. Relationships is this back and forth, so there may be this having to be in two different places at once for a bit, and that can affect relationships a bit, but it doesn't really look like it's a problem. Sagittarius are sort of used to that, and I'm sure anyone that's with a Sagittarius sort of knows that that's just the norm. So here you've got really good news. Again, when I was picking up on travel, there seems to be a reason. There could be a partnership or connection, people for work, or it's like there could also be like connecting up with people that you haven't seen for a long time. So this is going to be a great time to connect up with family and friends overseas. And I feel like not only will you be travelling overseas to connect up with those you love, but also people coming to see you. So, this could be a time where it's like, could be 10 years since you've seen this person. I don't think a family member, but more like friends. And it's like you find, if you count back, you probably find there's a pattern with that. So there seems to be a lot here going on with siblings. What did we have in this there? We've got Pluto. 4. So I'm feeling like be patient with family. We're talking about siblings here. We're talking about brothers, sisters. When I say be patient, I feel like someone's been going through a lot here, and that you're there for them. That might be another reason why you might feel a need to connect up. But here you have this sort of sense of wanting to help those that need it, and those that you really care about and love. So Spirit's wanting you to move more into community situations, helping out within the community or working within the community. Now, when I say move into that, it's not that they want you volunteering. I think your work is going to be in some one way or another working within the community more so, or more connected to the community than it has been before. It's like this is really quite destined for you. Again, I'm getting like outdoors, working in sort of not so much teams, because you're sort of more of an individual in the way you work. And again, I feel like you're working for yourself or contracting or something like that, but there seems to be more that can be done within to do with friendships, or to do with people within your community. So if you were like had your own business, and say you're a landscaper and you're looking to drum up work, this would be a great time. It's like you're going to get all the help, especially if you reach out to the community at large. And so the final thing here, we seem to have some good news about money here. It's not something you were expecting. It's not something you even like, I'm sure you desire. We all desire it, but it's not something that you sort of felt you were needing. But there seems to be a sum of money here where you're looking at like different investments. So say you owned a few properties, it almost feels like you would sort of trim them down a bit and look at new investments, or you could be looking at setting up investments in property. But either way, you're coming into this new cycle to make a lot more money. It's still this new cycle. It's not sort of saying, well, it's all coming in this year, but it's saying this is a productive year, and that things are going to grow from this in a very, very comfortable position for you. So it looks like a really good year, great year for connecting up, great year for expressing yourself, a really productive year. Also a year where things are going to come into balance. Any legal actions that you're taking, any documents you need signing, like I said before, this is going to be a really pertinent time for getting things done, but especially when you've got logistics involved. So I hope you enjoyed that, Sag, and see you again. Bye.